Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of A Little Jaded. I am Jade, the founder and CEO here at Jaded Productions, and I'm joined not by Joanna today, but by Vivian, our Chief Marketing Officer here at Jaded Productions. It's a very special episode because we're here with 4 students from Jaded University 2024, but I'm going to throw it over to Viv to say hey.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this episode. And hi, everyone. I haven't been on A Little Jaded in a while, but I want to go ahead and have our students introduce themselves. So, can you guys tell us your name, where you're from, and how you found out about Jaded U?
Well, my name's Abigail, and I'm from New York City. And I found out about Jaded, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago on like social media on TikTok because my algorithm knows I want to make it in the music industry. So they recommended you guys as like a resource to check out. And I've kind of been a follower since. Yeah.
I'm Cora. I'm from New Jersey, and I found about Jaded University through the Jaded Productions Instagram. It came up in my reels, so I followed along from there.
I'm Rachel. I'm from Miami, Florida. I found out of Jaded University through TikTok actually, and then I started following them. I believe it was their first year. And then when I heard about their university program, I was completely interested as a journalism student myself. It has given me the opportunity to grow in that field. So yeah.
I'm Kyle Barber. I'm from North Carolina, and I found out about Jaded through sort of like a little a line of things, I guess. I was looking to get into the music industry, so I remember I was literally just searching like music industry on TikTok, and then I found somebody by the name of Carla Angela, I believe, and I liked her content, so I followed her there and then on Instagram. So then I saw when she did a collab post on Instagram with the Jaded people, and that's how I found out and followed them and found out about Jaded University. So yeah, it's been great ever since.
That's awesome. Well, welcome, guys. We're so happy that you're here. We're happy that, I mean, at this point, you've completed Jaded University successfully. Yeah, we're really happy to have you here. So, our first question here is that there were 3 courses here at Jaded University. They were all taught by Jaded Productions staff. Myself and Vivian led artist management. Joanna and Kelly led public relations and journalism, and Mariana, with the help of Joanna, led the marketing team. So, with all that in mind, as you all went through them each week, what was your favorite class and why?
For me, my favorite class was definitely the marketing class. It's my main interest and goal for working in the music industry. I feel like the marketing course did a great job of like diving into and breaking down such a broad topic. I really liked how different areas of marketing was explored, like understanding social media tools, what establishing a brand means for an artist, fan engagement, creating assets, what goes into making a campaign. I learned a lot. And yeah, I just walked away with a better understanding of how marketing is used and also really enjoyed the assignment because I feel like that's where I got the most creative and everything during the course. Yeah.
My favorite was also marketing because there's a lot of creative freedom in the final project and creating the campaign ideas. And we got to think about like the target audience as well and learn about what that means and when you're creating content, who it's going to be going to and why you're making it and starting at the root of that. And for the final project, it was really fun because I had the idea to create a merch pop-up for my artists, and then I got to design merch as a promotional asset, which is really fun for me because I'm an artist, like drawing, not singing. So I really got to lean into that side of my creativity more.
My favorite class was I think it's pretty obvious. It was journalism. That is a major I studied in community college. And I feel like this program gave me the opportunity to learn about journalism, but in a whole new perspective in the music industry, because journalism is filled with many different types of topics, from news to sports to national news across the globe. And I feel like hearing journalism about the music industry is so little, but now with upcoming artists such as Chappell Rowan, Olivia Rodrigo, Taylor Swift, I feel like they have created a bigger platform for journalism to be heard for music and for artists. But most of all, what made me break out of my shell was writing on the assignments, which were the articles, the group project as well towards the end of the semester gave me like a bigger perspective of like what I want to do in life. And most of all, it has helped me as a content creator as well to break out of my shell.
I would say for me, my favorite course was definitely marketing. Um, that's something I've been interested in pursuing in music, particularly, I think, for a while. Music's a big passion of mine, and I've been a content creator on the internet since about 2012. So, like 14 years, I've just been making videos and making things. And so I think with marketing, you really get to use your creativity. And I think it's a really fun and interesting challenge to be able to put an artist's story and who they are and what makes them stand out and what makes them unique and putting that into different campaigns and different ways to be able to communicate that in a clear and concise, quick way. You know, it can be difficult, but it's very rewarding. And so I think that's what really keeps me like motivated to stay in it. I think during COVID, I saw a lot of artists having to really get creative, I think, with their marketing and with TikTok on the rise at that time. It changed how a lot of things were done. And a lot more are now making social media videos and they're having to be making the TikToks on the daily and things like that. And so I'm like, if I can help out with that in some way, if I can provide knowledge of, the algorithms or making things efficiently or branding or audience retention or whatever it is, that's something I would love to do. So that's really what pulled me. That's really what pulled me in. And I learned so much from that.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that you guys like felt like the classes were like useful and helpful and you guys like all had your own like individual fun experiences with them. Going off of our classes, Jaded University also hosts events every year during the school semester to kind of help you guys learn about more obscure topics in the music industry and like to make connections and network because that's a big thing that we push at Jaded U. And this year we had a resume and LinkedIn workshop that kind of helped you guys set up and enhance your LinkedIn profiles and your resumes. We also had a networking mixer where we, from Jaded U staff, invited our friends and it was a little casual night for you guys to talk and chat with people from the industry. And then we also had a panel with music industry professionals that allowed you guys to kind of have more insight on the ins and outs of their jobs and their day-to-day experiences. And given that you guys attended all those panels, what was one piece of advice that you got from any of those events that you will kind of keep with you or keep in mind as you pursue the rest of your career?
For me, it was during the Jaded networking mixer. Just in general, it was great to connect with other students and feel that sense of community. But one piece of advice I remember I received at this event was from April, who was one of the guests. She just told me to remember that I'm not alone in this journey, even though sometimes it can feel like that. And that having this love and passion for music will always shine through and like continue to drive you and to not get caught up in comparisons because we're all each on our path and that we're all capable of success. So that meant a lot coming from her, especially we were in the same age and like area of like the stage of our lives. So that meant a lot to me.
I learned a lot at the LinkedIn workshop because before that I didn't really use LinkedIn. So I learned the importance of setting that up and how to make the connections with people you've met and you're also going to meet and maintaining that and also updating your profile so people know what you're doing and like maximizing the profile views as well. So that was most interesting to me.
I feel like both events were very helpful, not just for me, but for everybody else as well. But I feel like the mixture that impacted me the most was with the panelists. It was very interesting to learn from people who work in the music industry and I agree with Cora. LinkedIn has made like a bigger impact in my life. Like recently today, I was applying for jobs in the music industry. So whatever I learned there, I like applied it on there and I realized, wow, like how much this has helped me grow.
In terms of, I guess, what I took away from these panels, there was a lot. I have so much. I took notes on everything there somewhere, but I will say I think a standout for me was getting to ask some questions to April. And just I think learning about her story was really interesting to me. She also comes from, a smaller town that doesn't really have a lot of like music opportunities, and I was able to sort of get some expertise of how to move in that sort of direction, and really being consistent with your personal brand as well as you're pursuing these other things. I think it can be hard to do both, but trying to split your time across those, and gain experience in your own projects that you start yourself. Like you can start gaining that experience today on your own by just building the things and learning as you go, and the mistakes and the failures just kind of add to what you learn in the long term, and just having persistence. I can't remember which panel because she was on two of them. She maybe mentioned it on one of them, but I know that she worked for like Warner Music Group at a point, and she had mentioned how she had like applied like multiple times to like get into the thing. It wasn't until like the fourth try that she got into their like student program. And so it just takes a lot of repeats, a lot of continuing to show up. It's a long-term thing. You're in it for the long haul. Nothing really happens quickly. So it takes a lot of like patience, I think. I think what you do is just a lot of communication. It's a lot of sending out emails and maybe someone's going to get back to you. It's a lot of reaching out for coffee chats and like seeing what happens, and just putting yourself out there, and that can be very intimidating. I think it can be very scary, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So there's definitely a lot of assurance I've kind of found in that from the advice she gave me.
That's awesome to hear. I think April is going to be very happy with all of the shout outs and all of the mentions. I think that'll be great. And I'm glad to hear that you guys got a lot out of it. We switch up our panels every year and our mixers, but it's always good to hear from students that, you got a piece of advice out of it. And never underestimate the importance of LinkedIn. That's what I take
Oh,
away from it.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Viv knows. But yeah, so and this year our final project every year, when we have the events and our classes, we also have a final project. But this year we centered it around the band Vortex. They're an indie Latino band based in Texas. So throughout the program, the work that you did as students, that was more independent. That was work that you did on your own. But for the final project, you kind of got together in a group and, had to brainstorm and, do different pieces of the project in different capacities as a group. So what was a challenge that, you had going into this group, and, how did you work through it? And also start out with what final project class you were in.
So I was in the marketing group for the final project. So my group and I were tasked with creating a marketing campaign for Vortex. Going from an individual to a group setting is always a shift and comes with changes. But for me personally, I feel like it was challenging to let go of control because, you don't have complete creative control of everything. But honestly, in the end, I feel like everyone showed up, which I'm like really grateful for. I could tell everyone really wanted to put their all into everything. So everything flowed in the end. And I felt like we did a really good job.
My final project was in artist management, which was really cool. And we worked on the touring, but I would say our biggest problem was different time zones because we were all from different parts of the country, and one time for another person did not work for other people, and especially going around people's like jobs and stuff. But we figured it out in the end. But it was definitely difficult getting started because we're all from different places.
My group was the journalism and PR organization. I was given the amazing opportunity to work with three amazing girls in this university program. We were in charge in writing the article and doing the EPK graphics based on the band and the recent single, Esos Besos. As a Latina myself, this was a really huge opportunity and I thought it was amazing. Like, oh wow, like a Hispanic boy band, like this is pretty cool. One thing I learned a lot is that teamwork does make the dream work, and that for sure you learn it along the way. Obviously, in the beginning, you do start off on your own and it can get tricky, but once you're given the opportunity to work with such amazing people, I feel like with each and every one of us having such a creative mindset, we were able to create something so amazing and so informational. When it came to writing the article with my partner Catherine, we were able to do our own research, but most of all, we were able to put both our writings together and to write something so beautiful.
So for my final project, I was also in marketing. So I got to work with Abigail and a few other really awesome people trying to collaborate, and we were all coming up with our like list of ideas and different things that we were able to like put together and help each other sort of kind of flesh those out. And I thought it was a really interesting process. Definitely, I can relate in the difficulties with the time zone stuff, trying to work that out. But we pulled through, you persevere. And so I think there were a lot of advantages to working as a group, I think, because I feel like it's kind of easier for everybody to like hold themselves accountable, and we're all back and forth, in our group chat and we're sort of like figuring out our plans and, this goes to this person and this is goes to this and that sort of stuff. And we were very well structured. I work with very, dedicated people. It's not like one of those projects for school where there's like some lazy person who's like not doing anything, like we're all like trying our best to just like put in the work needed. And we came up with some really cool stuff. It was definitely challenging in some ways because it was more graphic design focused, and I have more experience in things like video editing and maybe some cinematography stuff. And so I was learning some new skills, but I'm getting back on the Canva. I'm putting in my work, and so I was able to get some good results out of that. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like y'all crushed it.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that, and I like hearing your different like challenges throughout because all of the challenges that you guys have mentioned are also the same challenges that you probably will experience in the music industry world. Like for me, I'm in the touring world and there's so many people, different people that you're working with that are from Canada or the UK and we have to get on a Zoom call at like 4 in the morning. So it's a little bit of practice for you guys until you step foot into, I guess, the real scene. But co coming to our last question, looking back on our program, was there, we touched on it, but was there a career field that you guys wanted to go into? Like we had marketing, artist management, touring, etc. Um, and then after Jaded U's over, did you guys kind of change your mind? Like, oh, I didn't know that this existed and this is a career that I'm now interested in, or do you still want to pursue the same career that you came into Jaded U with?
For me, before Jaded University, I wanted to go into the marketing field. I definitely still do want to. I think the course helped me even more to feel confident in that, and I did go to school for it. But I will say, I found myself enjoying the artist management course a lot more than I thought I would. I like knew about it, but doing it, I was like, wait, like this is a lot more like fun and I'm like connecting with it more than I expected. So especially like creating the assignment with the tour routing and everything, I really enjoyed that. So I'm definitely leaving that, like I'm leaving here with that in the back of my mind that it's not a complete no. Like you never know in the future and it's definitely worth checking out. So yeah.
For me, I've always known I wanted to go into artist management, so that one definitely stood out to me because we got to learn about it and then also see what it's like in a real life scenario with a final project. So that was really interesting for me, but I'm also only 17, so I do have some time to decide, but artist management is definitely interesting because you get a little bit of everything with it, I think.
Before Jaded University, I did wanted to go into journalism after graduating a performing arts high school in COVID. And I believe I believe this university gives the opportunity to people to learn more. I will be honest. What I learned in school is completely different from what I learned here. But most of all, it's really cool to learn from people who work in the music industry, who know about artist management, who know about anything about touring, music, literally anything in the world that's based on this program. It gives you the opportunity to learn and see it in their own eyes. And I believe that it also gives you the chance to break out of your shell if you feel shy, like for a moment, if you believe that, oh, I couldn't do this, well, this program gave me the opportunity that I could do so much more. And speaking of that, right now, I'm working on a very interesting project for my YouTube channel. I would love to tell you guys what it is. Yeah, you know what? I might as well say I am interviewing the band Vortex in Orlando, Florida for their upcoming tour. I'm very excited. This university was probably the best thing that has ever happened to me. So if you're interested in joining in, you guys should definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, what everyone else said right there. I mean, that's a pretty good advertisement. I mean, for myself, still very much interested in doing the marketing and going through with that. I'm so glad though that I got to get a taste of like a bunch of different areas across the industry because there's so many different facets to it, and I think the more knowledge you just have on the music industry in general, the more it helps. Like it is very helpful to know about artist management, and it's helpful to know about PR because there's a lot of materials you're making within marketing that are directed towards those people, and you have to learn how to communicate those things in the way that's needed. And so there was just so much that I was able to get from it. And I will say, I think it's so cool that like how everything's structured here. There's like multiple teachers for like each class and like a TA to be able to like help out with things. And so for anybody who's interested in doing it, I absolutely go for it. There's like nothing to lose. It's free, which by the way, I think it's so cool that this is like able to be so accessible to people because you don't pay for it. Like that's like totally unheard of. Like I think that's just the coolest thing. And so yeah, and so there's so many people here that you get to be able to collaborate with on team projects and be able to learn and get advice from. I was just getting some feedback from Jade on my resume. So now I can go back and like be able to like revise some things and just learning more about the industry through those people. So to anybody who does it, go do it and make the most of it. Talk to as many people and start as many conversations as you can because it's all about getting to know people and everybody here is going to have the same genuine like passion for music as you do. And so there's like this this bubbling energy, that's there. And I think that really is going to help you as you're working on your projects.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you got a lot out of it. I appreciated hearing about it. This is our first Jaded University podcast. So yeah, I appreciated hearing all of your, thoughts and opinions, and I know Viv did too. And on behalf of the rest of Jaded Productions, we appreciate you guys. So thanks so much for participating in Jaded University. And this has been another episode of A Little Jaded.